Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn something about penetration. Like exactly what is your penetration and how you are using these penetration skills to perform certain testings on various platforms, or you can say on different domain like web domain, wireless domain, networking domain. So let's talk about the very first part is, let's talk about penetration. What is this penetration testing actually? So penetration testing is nothing but it can be also considered, or you can say as pen testing, because in this entire penetration testing, the very first thing what you are going to do is you are going to identify those vulnerabilities or the weakness which is present in that particular system, in the network, or any application, or either you can say any physical security controls which is lacking or having certain kind of flaw within it. And the primary role, or you can say the objective of this penetration testing, is to provide a simulation environment where the security experts or your penetration experts can perform the real world attack and help the organizations to provide certain mitigations or remediations on such vulnerabilities or on such kind of risk. So this penetration testing is actually helping the organizations to provide early remediations, or you can say to provide to check or detect early vulnerabilities present in those network or in that particular application or any controls. So now let's talk about the aspects. What are the key aspects of being a pen testing? So we have 4 key aspects, that is identification of vulnerabilities, exploitation of vulnerabilities, post-exploitation analysis, and the last, that is reporting and remediation. So identification of vulnerabilities is actually your pre-hacking phase, whereas exploitations talks about actual hacking. So when the person or the attacker has gained access or trying to gain access on the system or on the network, that is your exploited. So the vulnerability or the flaw which is detected in the particular network or system is now been exploited. The attacker is trying to gain access over there, but after gaining access, or you can say when the attacker is trying to maintain access and control that particular system or the network communications, at that time it is considered as post exploitation. So initially every attack, whether you are talking about ethical hacking, vulnerabilities, we are dividing the stuffs in 3 parts, that is pre-hacking, hacking, and post-hacking. The fundamental behind this is that we have to check before hacking what kind of information could be stealed, or what are the objective or common methods the attacker is trying to gain from the particular network or infrastructure. And post hacking is something that after the objective has been successfully achieved, or the intent or the goal of the attacker is successfully done, what are the compromised, how many data is been compromised in that particular attack. So that is why these 3 fundamentals are there: pre-hacking, hacking, and post-hacking. So now let's talk about different types of penetration testing. So penetration testing have initially 4 types, that is external penetration testing, internal penetration testing, web application penetration testing, and wireless penetration testing. So external penetration testing, it does not mean that someone beyond the network or any third person is doing the penetration testing and all that. But external penetration testing actually focus on the communication which is traveling or which is happening outside the organizations. Like whenever you are using any kind of web servers, emails, So these are the communication way you are using to communicate with another person in the different geographical location. So your communications or your network is being getting connected to that particular person's environment or network. So this is where your external penetrations belong, or how your communication is outgoing or incoming from your network or to the other network. So this is where we are talking about the external penetration testing. Now let's talk about the internal penetration testing. What is this internal penetration testing? So over this testing, it actually helps us to identify, or you can say it is very beneficial for the organization to predict any intruder present in the organization. So intruder in something or person or the employee of that organization who is helping to those bad actors. So this is where the term intruder is came. Now this internal penetration testing not only help us to identify those insiders or intruders, but also it help us to check the any kind of weakness present in the internal environment, or any unauthorized access is done by the person itself or not. So this is where your internal penetration testing helps. Now we have web application and wireless penetration testing. But talking about web application penetration testing, we should be very clear about two things, that is, what are the web applications and APIs. So APIs are nothing but it is you can say an application programmable interface, which it stands for. So this API actually gives a lot briefing, or you can say a lot idea about how the integration has been done on that particular project. So suppose if you are working on any kind of project, like you want to check for any kind of samples, so in that case, if you are referring to the virus total, alien vault, polyswarm, like this databases, so at that time to get updated each and every stuff from that platforms, you don't need to be pass each and every data. Simply you can generate the APIs, and everything which is being updated on those platforms will be updated at your end as well. So this is where APIs are very beneficial for application penetration testings. Also, the flaws or the weakness which could be detected in this web application majorly are cross-site scripting and the broken authentication mechanism. Now cross-site scripting, instead of cross-site scripting, there could be different forms of cross-site scripting as well, that is reflected, DOM, and a lot. Also there are client-side scripting, server-side scripting. So it depends which kind of scripting it has been done, what kind of coding has been, scripting has been done. So there are various forms, but majorly the title you can say is cross-site scripting, which consider all those kind of scriptings, which all those kind of vulnerabilities which could lead via this scripting ways. Now lastly, in penetration testing types, we have wireless. So in the today's digital world, we have various digital medias, digital phones, or you can say also the common stuff, the payments gateway are also on digital platforms. We are using different forms of digital payments nowadays. So to secure this, and many people who are very much passionate about this technologies, they are making the IoT systems like their smart home, smart agriculture, and all that. So due to this advancement of the technology, there is a lot of recent cyber crimes happening at every day. Okay, so to counter attack this cyber crimes, we have or you can say the security experts has launched a new domain, that is wireless penetration testing. So everything which is wireless like your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, your routers, your access point, your endpoint devices, everything which is wireless are being monitored and being tested in the domain of wireless penetration testing. So over here, the flaws or the weakness which is not yet been patched, or there is not any kind of release has been done, is done by the separate team which is more focused on this wireless penetration testing. Now there is a very good functionality in Zero Flipper. So Zero Flipper is one of the best tool, or you can say the best software recently used by many penetration testers, not only for the wireless penetration testing but for IoT penetration testing, for mobile penetration testing. The Zero Flipper has a lot of potential and functionality to debug the vulnerabilities and to remote control the particular software or tool. So the Zero Flipper is one of the best tool or software designed by the developers to monitor these IoTs and wireless devices. Next we have the stages, the 5 penetration testing stages. So if any one of you know, we have ethical hacking phases, vulnerabilities phases. So in general, ethical hacking hold 5 phases. So what are those 5 phases? Let's have a glimpse of that before going to penetration testing stages, and just try to correlate with both of this. So ethical hacking, consider that 5 phases are your reconnaissance, that is information gathering phase. Second, you have scanning. Third, gaining access. Fourth, maintaining access. And lastly, we have clear tracking, or you can say footprinting. And if you are able to see the screen, in penetration testing also we have 5 stages, but the first and the last stage are changed. That is, planning and reconnaissance is your first stage. Second, you have scanning. Third, gaining access, or you can also say that as exploitation. Fourth, maintaining access. And last, we have analysis and reporting. Instead of clear tracking, we have analysis and reporting, because over here we are not going for the ethical hacking phases but for the penetration testing. Now the very first phase is actually talking about how you are going to perform a penetration testing. So you have to design a proper planning, that how you are going to gather the information, who is the target, whether it's the individual or the network organization, what you are trying to test. Like in different types of testing we have seen, like whether you are going for wireless, web application, internal testing, external testing. So based on this different types of testing, you have to choose the particular tools, the whether it's on the large network or it's on the individual system. So you have to plan accordingly that to gather the information, that what information you can gather to provide a effective remediation at the end of this penetration testing. So this is what your first phase. The second phase, actually you are trying to identify those vulnerabilities present in the particular network, that what are those vulnerabilities, how you can use those information to penetrate in the organization's network, or why the individual or why the attacker will target on this organization itself. So this is where you are trying to scan those networks and check for any kind of subnetting issues, misconfigurations present in the software, in the networking environment, or whether in the design, whatever you have planned earlier. Then you are trying to gain access. Why, as a penetration tester, you are trying to gain access or exploit the network? Because the fundamental role or the core role of the penetration tester is actually to design or to create a simulation environment where you can assume yourself as a attacker, a very good attacker who is having a pronounced skills, that using those skills you are trying to penetrate, or you can say you are trying to exploit the network, and using those techniques and skill later on when you are generating those reports, at that time you will be getting a brief idea that why the attacker will target this organization and what sort of information they will get from these organizations, and how much harmful those risks could be. So now, after gaining the access, the fourth phase of the penetration testing is maintaining access. So maintaining access is actually the objective or the goal, or you can say the motive of an attacker, that what he is going to do with that particular data or that particular sensitive or confidential information present within those network or in the organizations. And lastly, as a penetration tester, you are not going to clear those footprinting, but you are going to prepare a brief documented report which you are going to further discuss with the risk management, with the board members, that this could be the attack and this attack could lead an heavy impact to your organization's reputations and to the data stealing, and it could be lack your confidentiality and availability of the information. So this is what your penetration testing actually talking about. So that's the reason we are using all these penetration testing phases. Now let's talk about some tools which a penetration tester, or if you are going to be a penetration tester, will be required. So as we have seen that the objective or the primary focus of the penetration tester is to create a simulation environment to check the vulnerabilities or to create the payloads or the exploit. So let's see one by one what are the tools and what are the phases involved for that tools. So it's a genuine request for you all to just make a proper note down of these tools, because you are not going to find out that easily each and every tool mentioned on the browsers or the blogs. So these are some common tools which is used by each and every organization as a penetration testing team. So the very first is network scanning tools. So for scanning the network, the common or one of the best tools are Nmap, Nessus, OpenVAS, MassScan and Netcat. So over here, Nmap is the one of the best tool which is going to provide a lot of information, and it's very much useful for performing an ethical hacking. So you can go for the entire ethical hacking phases, like from information gathering to maintaining the access on the system or on the organization using Nmap itself. Now we have vulnerability assessment. So in vulnerability assessment, QualsiGuard, OpenVAS and Nikto. OpenVAS is actually your graphical interface, whereas Nikto is providing you to find the vulnerability present on the web. And we have exploitation. Exploitation is nothing but how you are trying to gain access on the system. It's talking about that. So for exploitation, you have Metasploitable framework, exploit database, that is ExploitDB, which is officially provided by Offset, that is Kali itself. And we have for browsers exploitation, we have Beef. Now how you are trying to gather those information using some more tools, like if you want to go for password cracking, so you can use John the Ripper, Hashcat, Hydra. And for web application pen testing, you can use Burpsuit, Aquantix, SQL Map. But if you are having one of those good knowledge like what is web application testing and all that, so Burpsuit is one of the best tool. Now for wireless network testing, you can use AirCrackNG, Wireshark, Wi-Fi IT. Also, you have social engineering, forensics, privilege escalations. But when you are going for forensics, and if you are very much beginner, like you are not aware about what could be forensics and how to utilize this tool, so autopsy is the free environment, or you can say autopsy is the free software. So you can have a very good practice using this autopsy for forensic. Now when you are analyzing any system or you are trying to gather information, the very first of is came that how you can go for the packet analysis. So for packet analysis, widely the organization is using Wireshark. So Wireshark is one of the best focused for analyzing the network communication, for checking any suspicious behavior, or if attacker is using for any kind of sniffing like packet sniffing. So Wireshark are being used by attacker as well for going for wire sniffing as well. Now we have wireless security analysis, and lastly is reporting. So if you are able to see that Wireshark is used in various ways, like for packet analysis, for your network checking, also over here for wireless security analysis. So Wireshark, Nmap, your Metasploitable, your Bob suit, and these are the common tools which are very much useful, and you should have some kind of hands-on experience on these tools, which is actually very helpful on for you guys in case of you are going for this cyber security domain. Lastly, in reporting, Metasploitable Pro, and we have Friday and Radis framework. So these are one of the good tools to create the report. But Metasploitable Pro is not for the beginners, or you can say it's not free, it's for the commercial itself. So you cannot make a report until and unless you are using the Metasploitable Pro. So before going to the penetration testing methodologies, just let me know any common tools which you guys have ever heard or ever used, any tools for the penetration testing. Anand, Splunk is not the penetration testing tool. Splunk is basically used by the blue teaming for the monitoring purpose, log analysis purpose. Splunk is not in your penetration testing. It's a kind of monitoring. It's help you to be check the log analysis and all that. Kiran, you are saying Metasploit. So could you just tell me those components and module, because Metasploit itself talks about a lot. Like you can use this tool to generate exploit, and you can use your own customized payload as well. A lot of is going on in the Metasploit. So any one of you who are just saying Metasploit, just list out that modules, Metasploit modules, and just tell me the difference between the Metasploit and Metasploit Metasploit framework and metasploitable. Because in my presentation I have mentioned in exploitation tool we are using metasploit framework. So if you guys are talking about metasploit framework or metasploitable. Sanchit, Kiran, can you just list out the modules or guys who is just listening just listing those metasploit, just tell me the modules. Exactly, that's what I am asking because I have not mentioned metasploit. If you can see the presentation in exploitation, I have mentioned metasploit framework. So metasploit framework is present in your Kali Linux machine, in your Parrot OS machine, and metasploitable is a entire ISO image which is a vulnerable machine to practice for you. Exactly, Saurav, your answer is right. Okay, Rishabh, no worries. But why I am asking this question is because there could be question for you guys whenever you are going for the interview of the cyber, and if you are mentioning that you are aware about metasploit, so just be very clear that whether it's metasploitable, that is the ISO image of the machine which is vulnerable to practice for you guys, or the metasploit framework. Because if you are straightly saying metasploit and they are considering that it is a metasploit framework, at that time they will ask you the components and the modules. So metasploit is having a component as well as different 6 to 7 modules listed over there. So many of you are telling metasploit. So any one of you just in the chat box write down that metasploit is given by which organization. Anyone having any idea that metasploitable and metasploit is given by which organizations? Exactly, Sanchit, your answer is right. Rapid 7 is the organization which is providing you this metasploit. So just be very clear. Sunil, it's not Oracle. It's not Oracle. Okay. Rahul Kumar is not Oracle. I am not getting why you guys are mentioning Oracle. Metasploit is using a database, but it is of post-GRE but it's not Oracle. So whenever you are using the metasploitable, and if it's not working, it's providing any kind of error at the time of starting, the very first thing you can go for is that you can try to start that particular database, that is post-GRE. Okay, Sumita, I got you, but I was not asking the question that who is created that. The question was which organization. So Rapid 7 is the organization, and if you are concerned about that database, so PostgreSQL is the database which is running at the backend. Okay, so just now let's talk about this penetration testing methodologies. So these methodologies are nothing but it's talking how you're going to look for the penetration testing, like what compliances, what frameworks, or what objective has a penetration tester you should require to perform a testing. So we have 8 different penetration methodologies, you can say, not different but 8 kinds of or 8 forms of methodologies, in which 2 to 3 are based on the organizations, but we have 5 in journal. We have these 5 methodologies which every organization have to follow while doing certain kind of penetration testing. So the very first is OSSTMM. So this is nothing but the open source security testing methodology manual. So this testing actually help you, or you can say to the organization, to go for a manual testing based on the open source, the information or the data which is present on the open source. They are providing certain testing or they are providing certain security on that, but via manually. They are not using any kind of automated tool. So the tools when you are using, like it's automated or manual, it should be very focused on that. So NISAs, or you can say OpenVAS, these are the automated tool. But when you are going for any, like you can say the CLI based, that is NICTO, so this is your manual tool. Or even though you can say there are different profile information gathering tools present on the GitHub repositories like Sherlock, Recon. So these are the manual testing tools. So you should be very crystal clear about the tools which you are using, whether it's manual or automated, because nowadays organization are having the concern about that. We don't require you to check for the automations, but try the manual tools and help us to complete this task, because automation tools are easy to use and it's very much familiar. Once you are seeing it, you will be able to use it. So the second methodologies we are having PTES, that is penetration testing execution and standard. So anything like in the organizations, in any organization, suppose the XYZ organization, and they are trying to go for the penetration testing for the application they have made, but for performing those penetration testing and execute a penetration test, they should check for the standards, like the standards which have been listed in PTES is being properly followed or not. That's the reason we are saying that ethical hackers or these penetration testers or the security experts are following certain rules, guidelines. So any activity which is being performed by them will not considered as unethical or illegitimate. Nextly, NIST. So what is NIST? Anyone is having idea what is the full form of NIST and why the NIST, whether the NIST is a framework or the compliance? Sanjit, it's not NVD framework. NIST is a framework and NVD is a vulnerability database. This NVD vulnerability database is managed by this NIST, or NIST is helping to manage the NVD database. NVD is not, I am asking you right now. Yeah, it's of US government, but the question is not the about which government is holding it. Question is NIST framework, full form of the NIST framework, and why we are using NIST framework. Okay, so NIST is a framework which carries a different roles in terms of the standards to maintain any kind of technology. So we have different frameworks like NIST or 27001, NIST 19, and all that. But for penetration testing, you should know NIST SP 800-115. So this is the framework, or you can say this is one kind of methodology which a penetration tester should aware about. So there are various different NIST frameworks, 27001, 1900, and all that. But as a penetration tester, you should know the NIST SP 800-115 framework. So that's the framework which is being deployed, or which is being used by organization when performing the penetration testing. Fourth one is OZAP. So everyone, lot of people has answered during that they have used OZAP. So what is this OZAP? Can anyone say me what is OZAP? You have written in the chats OZAP. Simon, top vulnerability. What are you trying to answer? My question is what is OZAP? And if you can see the screen, it's written that it's an open web application security project. Don't take so much pressure if you guys are not knowing. Just simply type no, you are not aware about it, and if you are aware about it, just simply type yes. Yes, Saurav Kumar. OZAP is a project. In the full form, or in it's what it stands for, it's simply written over here. It's a kind of project which provide a guidance for the developers, or if any vendors or clients want to check for their project, they can use this tool for testing purpose for their web application testings. So this is where your OZAP helps you. Yes, you can say that it's a proxy tool like VAPT, but okay, so a lot of you are aware about what is OZAP. So these are the methodologies. Like methodologies is nothing but you can say the procedure how you are carrying the penetration testing. So when any organizations are going for a certain penetration testing, so they are going on this methods, or they are using these steps. So they should have, for manual testing they should have OSSTM, they should follow certain frameworks. So that framework is nothing but NIST SP 800-115, and the another framework is ISSAF, that is Information System Security Assessment Framework. So if any one of you are just interested in knowing the framework, so just try to give a like explore a lot about what is this NIST SP 800-115 and Information System Security Assessment Framework. Now, additionally, based on the organization, like who is the organization, whether it's financial sector, technical sector, or hospitalized sector, based on that the methods may vary. So we have additional methods based on the need or demand of the organization, that could be red team versus blue team. So one of the best tool right now, MITRE framework officially organization has been declared, is that Caldera. And blue teaming or red teaming, you can say, or even the malware departments, they are very frequently started using this tool, that is Caldera. So if you are guys going on the browser, like any one of your favorite browser, and simply you are typing Caldera, given by the MITRE, because if you are simply typing Caldera, it's a location, so it will display that hill locations. So instead of that, simply type Caldera tool or Caldera software, then you will be able to see its usage. And nowadays organizations like blue team or red team are frequently started using this Caldera. And secondly, any penetration tester who is going for any kind of testing, they should know what is the project. Like if you are in or working for the organization, you should know what is the project. Like there are certain software development methods, and in that there are various ways. So one of that is we are having agile. So agile is used for deploying or maintaining or creating one of the best projects. So agile methods are used a lot for software development. And DevSecOps are nothing but it's a kind of providing security to a certain operations or certain project. So as a penetration tester, you should be aware about how you can use that agile development and DevSecOps both to prepare or to design a better security for those applications or for the organization. Now, lastly is the customized method. So, as I said that organization need on the organization, they are using the customized methods. So they can also use different guidelines they have been using for their organizations, how they have to perform the penetration testing, and on which application, which devices, like it's whether internal penetration, external penetration testing, or on the wireless penetration testing. So this is what your penetration methods or steps which you have to carry out throughout the testing process of the project or on the organization or on the network. So any questions or any queries regarding this particular session, if you guys are having, you can just write down in the chat box. Attendance link has been shared with you guys, so just fill your attendance because you're going to get your certification based on the your active and attendance. Simon, NIST is your framework and ISO is your compliance, or you can say it's a not compliance but ISO is the standard where you're checking certain kind of risk quality and based on the qualitative and quantitative, like what how much risk has been occur on the certain data or certain asset. So NIST is the framework which an organization have to follow from um, you can say from getting into certain kind of breach or attack, whereas ISO is a standard which help you to frame or design a risk or budget which helps you to get a heavy damage of the amount, like, so it's a standard which is helping you for making a proper budget planning for the risk for from the disasters recovery, like how much you have to invest on certain things, like whether it's on operational basis, technical basis or administration basis and all that. Hello Pawan. For that, Pawan, you can ask it in the WhatsApp group itself. They will let you know that whether you can get the certificate or not. And if you are doing all those assignments properly, you will be getting the certificates easily. Then there should be no doubt, because assignments are the one that is letting you help that whether you are attending the sessions properly or not. But just the case that you have to be regular for all the sessions which are going to come. Difference between blue team and red team: blue team is your offensive team which is actually monitoring what is going on in the network. They are checking for any kind of suspicious activities or not. And red team is your defensive team, you can say. Sorry, blue team is your monitoring team. They are helping to check any kind of suspicious activity or any kind of unanimous behavior is there or not. And whereas your red teaming is your penetration testing team, you can say. They are making a simulations to help the organizations to find early vulnerabilities present in the network and to make sure that they have a good security design plan. AC Karthi, what's your question? I'm not getting. Google provides cybersecurity professional course as a fresher pursuit. Like, what do you want to ask exactly? That you want to ask for the professional courses or for the fresher perspective? Okay, then if there are not questions, then we can end the session. So thanks guys for watching the session, and just be active on the group for your assignments and attendance as well. So I hope everyone has done the attendance. So thank you so much guys.